Okay, and I'm going to do this here, and I'm going to do that. Okay, this is Gordon Watts with the Register. To complete the project that James Neighbors, the Overpasses for America founder, asked for us to do, us leaders, I'm doing an interview with many people who have gone out to Overpasses, and here's Miss Rebecca. She's the only person today, which is Monday, September the 30th, 2013, who could not make the interview in person, but I'm doing it telephonically. And so there's the telephone. And so, Rebecca, why do you go out to the Overpasses and hold signs and or flags to ask for Obama's impeachment?
Well, I think the way the country is going, it's sort of like Germany was. The Nazis were pre-war. A lot of rights are trying to be taken away. A lot of Second Amendment rights. They want you to have registration or try to take certain weapons away. Also, the NSA is spying on everyone. You know, they let Eric Holder give all of these weapons to Mexican drug cartels, which are really terrorists, to kill Mexicans and to kill us, but nothing was done. He's Obama's buddy. Nothing was done. Eric Holder's still there. And then he tries to go around and he wants to give weapons to Syria, and those are terrorists.
Well, and the worst part about it, in my opinion...
So, I mean, it's like America is funding, aiding, and abetting terrorists, and, you know, he's against the Constitution, he's against the Bill of Rights, then why are we
well, now some people have portrayed our organization as prejudiced and racist and all that, but what about John McCain? He's a white Republican, and what do you think about him?
McCain needs to get voted out. Lindsey Graham needs to get voted out.
Yeah. Exactly my point. That we're portrayed as a racist organization by some people, but we're not.
Obama spied on them. He has information with them. I don't know about McCain. He was kind of leaning towards Obama, I guess, for a while.
I want to go back to Syria. There was a point I wanted to hit. It's bad enough that we're going to any foreign conflict that doesn't directly impact our national security, but as you mentioned, we're helping the wrong side. If we're going to help any side, it would be Assad. Even though he's not a good guy, he's the lesser of the two evils. And we're helping the...
Look what happened in Iraq. They took out, what's his name? They took him out, and what's taken over? You know, there's more radicals in Iraq now than there were before.
And what about Obamacare? A lot of senators...
Saddam Hussein, when they took him out. I mean, some of these people are hard-headed. They need somebody to rule with an iron fist, it seems like, in a lot of these countries. And we might not want to live like that, but when you take that person out, you get all this instability and all this unrest. And what's going to come up? Some radical Islamic group, Muslim Brotherhood, Hamas, you know, Al-Qaeda, whatever.
And how about all these senators and representatives wanting exemption from Obamacare? Now, strictly speaking, they're not exempt. They get to enroll in it. They're forced to enroll in it, but they have a huge subsidy, which an average person doesn't have, and they're rich already.
I think that's illegal.
Right. In other words, even though...
I think this is something already on the books. Anything they sign into the law, they have to abide by it too.
Actually, strictly speaking,
the loophole that they're getting, or you know, it's not a legal thing that Obama's doing for them.
Strictly speaking,
their vote.
Rebecca, strictly speaking, it might actually be illegal because it might violate equal protection, since the ordinary citizen is not equally protected, since they don't have these subsidies that Congress has. And we're talking about now Congress. The congressional members are already rich, and they're getting an additional subsidy above and beyond the fact that they're rich, that an ordinary rich person couldn't get, an ordinary rich person, okay? And so what I'm saying is that even if you're not an expert on Obamacare, to see them get some subsidy that an ordinary Joe couldn't get, even though they're not technically exempt, they're exempt for all practical intents and purposes. And even if I didn't know anything else about Obamacare, and even if I was for socialized medicine, and there are two sides to that story, Obamacare would scare the daylights out of me because, hey, if they don't want it, why should I have it?
Exactly.
Right.
Because it's not good enough for them. They voted on it. Well, they, like when Pelosi said, you got to vote on it to know what's in it. Okay, well, that's what a lot of these people did. They voted on it. They didn't know what they voted for. Now they know what's in it. Now they don't want it, and they kind of got a little scapegoat thing going with Obama, like, hey, exempt us, we don't want it. But we'll vote to have the American people have it. But just don't let us have it.
Yeah, actually, that's
money
right.
to pay for it. We don't want to pay for it. Just give us the money to pay for it, and we'll vote whatever way.
Now, I want to touch on something before my time runs out on one of my two camcorders or my tape recorder here. That a lot of liberals think that we are not for them, but we're actually against. If you read the Overpasses standards on Overpasses for America, founder James Neighbors has said that we're against crony capitalism, which is something that a lot of liberals are also against. And we also, a lot of liberals want our gun rights. A lot of liberals don't want to be taxed and spent to death. Most liberals don't want us to go into foreign countries and do stand with us on the Benghazi issue. So what I'm saying is that a lot of liberals would feel at home here, unless, of course, they're rich and powerful liberals. Those are the conservatives, or so-called conservatives, the Republicans and the Democrats that are elite and above the law, that are rich and powerful, would probably not feel at home. But both Republicans and Democrats, blacks and whites, liberals and conservatives, if they're common folk, I feel would feel at home in the Overpasses movement. Overpassesforamerica.com is the website, or overpasses.org. Either of those two websites, I believe, are the correct website. So what do you think about my attempt to make a reach to the liberals and make them feel welcome, because of the fact that they're impacted as well?
Well, I think a lot of liberals actually, a lot of the unions have realized, hey, it's cutting jobs. Hey, our people, if the jobs are cut...
That's right, I forgot all about that.
...hours, then the unions are getting less money. So they're thinking of it that way. Unions are going to have less workers paying in, then they're going to have less money that they can spend on whatever they want to spend. But they had backed Obama, but now, because they didn't know what was in it, now the smoke is trying to clear a little bit, and little by little, the more they know, the more they
That's
don't
right.
want
I forgot all about it.
The more it's hurting employees, because, I'm one of the people that could be getting laid off soon. There's people getting hours decreased. There's people losing their health care coverage altogether and be forced to, find it on their own.
Yeah, I forgot all about that.
It's hurt a lot of people.
A lot of liberals, well, unions are typically liberal, so a lot of unions, and by virtue of that, a lot of liberals, left-wing people and Democrats, and as well a lot of minorities are now finding out that, hey, this is not good for our jobs. And if the unions are speaking out against something, then you know that it's not good for liberals. And so if the liberals are the one that put this forth and even they don't like it, that should be a sign that something is messed up. One of my camcorders, well, it has about a minute left. Is there any closing thing that you could say to people to invite them to come on out to the Overpasses? We're holding signs, flags, making new friends, drinking water when it's hot out there, or getting cooler in the
I mean, there's a lot of issues. You can be, remember Benghazi. You can be against communism, against socialism in America, and that's the way it's heading. For Second Amendment rights. For First Amendment rights, freedom of speech.
Yeah.
And how many times recently have we seen people get arrested for just voicing their opinion?
Yeah, well, these guys that were recently arrested by some cops out there just holding signs on the side of the road, supposedly for disrupting traffic, but that was not the case. The cops were out...
A guy was asking about Common Core, and then they want to arrest him, throw him out, push him around, throw him out. But then not charge him with anything. There was a family... on the ground, and a policeman, with a taser there. So, there's lots of instances where, if you're Christian, and in the military, if you're Christian, you can't say anything. It's don't ask, don't tell if you're a Christian. It's like roles have totally changed. If you're gay, you have more rights. If you're a Muslim, you have more rights. If you're atheist, you have more rights. But if you're a Christian, you have no rights. So people that are Christian don't want to go in the military because people that are there are being harassed or being threatened with dishonorable discharge or possible imprisonment or fines. And who would want to go in the military if you're a Christian? I wouldn't.
Yeah. Well, no, and they're forcing people to fight in wars which don't have any bearing upon the security of our nation. And strictly speaking, it's a violation of the U.S. Constitution for the president to go to war when it's not authorized by the Congress.
That's exactly what happened to Libya.
There's one other thing that the president
went out there and bombed Libya and then took out Gaddafi. And look, that country was very prosperous, And look what they have now. You have a whole bunch of radical Islamic people running around.
And I want to address another thing. The president...
And then you have Benghazi on top after that.
Yeah, now this is not as important as...
And the big cover-up between Clinton and Obama, that whole scandal.
Well, I don't... Now,
and the IRS.
Yeah, now...
There's so many layers of deceit and lies in this administration. It's you know, he ran on, I'm going to be the most transparent. That was the first biggest lie.
Now, I mean,
everything's been a lie.
Now,
everything is a lie.
Before I forget it, this is not as important as Benghazi, but the president convinced the lawmakers to pass into law the Obamacare, the Affordable Health Care Act, but then they found out...
Affordable Health Care.
Well, they found out that it was not working too well, so they want to delay one of the two mandates. To begin with, they should either delay both or not either, but the president cannot delay the mandate. It's the lawmakers can pass law. The president cannot pass law by executive authority. That's an overstep of the Constitution. Now, I want to go on record as saying that one of the national leaders pointed out to me, and I agree with him, the president has been a faithful husband, and he's been a good father. And I want to give
that we know of.
Well, that we know of. And I want to give him credit where credit's due. And I don't think that we should hate our enemies, and we should pray for our leaders, and we should genuinely pray for them to turn their hearts and to try to do right. But at the same time, just because you don't hate a person does not mean that he should stay in office, okay? And it's not about race. It's not about the color of his skin. The guy's not even totally black. So if I was going to be prejudiced against him, that wouldn't even be logical.
Well, I mean, a lot of the liberal left want to say, if you say anything bad about one of their candidates, oh, you're racist, oh, you're this, you're
yeah,
that.
I'll give you an example.
We're just talking about policies here and what the person has done. We're not talking about skin color. It could be anybody.
Yeah, Dr. Martin Luther King's niece.
I mean, I didn't like Bush, the fact that he wanted to go into Iraq. I didn't think that was...
Yeah, and I agree with you. I agree with you.
Doing that.
He was a rich white...
Saddam Hussein, and look what you got.
He was a rich white Republican, and I voted for the guy twice, and I voted for his father twice, I believe.
Say whatever I want about Bush, and that's not...
Yeah, and yet I didn't agree with him.
If I do the same thing about Obama, that's considered racist.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't vote for the guy. I've lost my train of thoughts. There's just so many layers of evil out there.
There's so many layers of deceit and evil, and you know, I think his main goal is trying to bankrupt America, because really that's a Muslim thing. They know if they hurt us in the pocketbook, they bankrupt us. The Wall Street falls, everything falls. Then you know that would be a victory for them.
Yeah. Anyhow, though, Rebecca, I really want to thank you. Before I run out of time, I think my tape recorder is about to run out, and the camcorder, I don't even know. One of them already ran out. The other one is still going here. And you actually turned in a very good performance. The founder, James Neighbors of Overpasses for America, has made a good request for us to take pictures and to do interviews, because we should know why we believe what we believe. And if we cannot do interviews like this, then this is a bad thing. The thing of it is I believe that we should reach out and try to let our fellow man who happens to be liberal or black or Democrat know that we have some causes that support their causes, and that we can work together and we don't hate them, even if we cannot totally agree on all the things. That we can work together on a lot of the issues. And as a matter of fact, most of the issues people agree on anyhow. But there's a few rich and powerful people that pull the strings and whatnot. But anyhow, though, before I just totally run out here, I guess I'm going to go ahead and cut the interview short. Is there any one last thing that you might want to throw in to say about people coming out to the Overpasses events and holding flags and signs?
I think the big thing, people that come out to the Overpass are for pro-democracy, they're pro-Constitution, they're pro-America, pro-Americans. We don't want to see our country...
No, other countries have gone downhill.
Other countries turned into a Russia or a China or a
other countries have gone downhill, and
Venezuela. We don't want that.
Well, other countries have gone downhill, and we very well could as well. We're not special.
My ancestors fought in many of the wars, the Revolution and the Civil War and the Indian War, and you know. It's in my ancestry, and you know we already fought to get this nation, and you know hopefully in my lifetime we're not going to have to shed blood and fight again to keep our democracy.
Right. Anyhow, before all of my recording equipment runs out, Miss Rebecca, I wanted to go ahead and identify myself once more for any poor listener who has made it this far. This is Gordon Wayne Watts with the Register. I'm with Florida Patriots Lakeland, one of the local leaders for Overpasses for America, overpassesforamerica.com or overpasses.org. Either one of those, put in Overpass, impeach Obama. And we're for impeaching Obama, but we're also for removal of all leaders, Republicans and Democrats, that have overstepped their authority. And that would probably be most of them. So anyhow, thank you once again for your interview. And I'll see if I can get this thing edited and spliced together in some way, shape, or form.
Thank you.